Unaware that the Marines are next door, a guy demands money from a woman. It was all over in a flash. She hardly had time to comprehend what the two men were saying before it was too late when they encircled her automobile. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Something snapped inside Ethel. She wasn't going to give up easily. With a loud hoot, she put the vehicle in reverse and climbed onto the curb. She knew they were pursuing her when she heard boots on the tarmac. 60-year-old Ethel Mills, a resident of Linwood, moved as quickly as she could through the mall. Trying to find her bearings, she lowered her head and disregarded the tempting window displays in H&M and JCPenney's. The mall was crowded with young people that afternoon, but she seemed unfazed by the scurrying kids and kept going in the direction of the Pearle Vision optometrist. With every stride, Ethel's anxiety increased. She was still agile for her age, but her vision had deteriorated. She had started to realize in the past few weeks that the hazy fog surrounding the edges of her vision was becoming bigger. She was walking, immersed in her own thoughts, and failed to see the two men. They did, however, notice her. She went inside when she finally noticed the eye specialist's sign. The auto-refractor's cold metal was placed on her forehead as she waited for the ophthalmologist's diagnosis while seated in the high-back chair. With stronger lenses that she would need to pick up in a few days, the doctor's lack of worry was a relief to her. She never could have realized she had been marked, even though she had to walk the lengthy distance back to the parking lot. Unfortunately, Ethel was the ideal soft target for crooks who frequently prey on the elderly. She was by herself. She was at risk. Furthermore, the two criminals never anticipated her fighting back due to her advanced age. They waited for her to leave the security of the packed mall, following her from a distance. Ethel plodded back to the parking lot, puffing and huffing. She thought impatiently, "Next time, I'll remember to park closer to the right entrance." However, she had at least accomplished her goal. She was shocked to discover that the parking lot was nearly deserted and that the sky was already turning to twilight as she arrived at the entrance. The two distant people who were following her also took note. Ethel paused for a minute to gather her breath after hoisting herself into her automobile. Carefully, she fastened her safety belt and shut the door. But they were on her before she could lock it. While the bigger one reached for her handbag, which was still slung over her shoulder, the smaller one pried open the door. Then she noticed what the man was hiding beneath his shirt. She quickly made the decision that she would not surrender her purse to the man when he tugged at it. Even though it was a foolish idea, she couldn't bear to lose everything that was in her handbag, including her social security card, credit cards, letters from her grandkids, and a tiny amount of cash. It was everything within. As a former police officer, she was aware that it was always preferable to avoid conflict. However, she disregarded her own counsel. Using all of her effort, she clenched her fist around the strap of her purse and jerked it free. Her other hand, meanwhile, sprang out to shut the door. But these guys had no intention of surrendering so quickly. After rapping on the window, one of the men displayed his weapon to her. She didn't care, though. She flattened her foot and shoved the vehicle into reverse. She knew precisely what she intended to do as one of the goons appeared in front of the automobile. In an attempt to pry the door open once more, the other rushed around and approached from behind. Then they noticed the resolve in her face. She slammed on the car's horn with her little hand, attempting to draw the attention of someone, anyone. She pushed the gear into drive after that. As the automobile began to speed toward the bigger man, the thug's eyes widened and the other one fled. She climbed the curb with an irate hoot and a scream of tires. This was not going to be tolerated by these thieves. In an attempt to overtake the second man and cut him off, she engaged two tires. At that moment, the thugs realized they had miscalculated. However, their expressions turned white as they spotted the uniformed guys sprinting in their direction. The thieves, believing they could use Ethel, failed to notice what was there in front of them in the strip mall just a short distance from the parking lot. The attempt to rob Ethel was a mistake. As the door flew wide and the Marines rushed out, the anxiety on their faces soon gave way to sheer panic. They had just come to terms with their enormous error. When Sergeant Ben Shoemaker, Staff Sergeant Bryson Twigg, and Sergeant Ricardo Scubesta heard the loud noise outside their Armed Forces Career Center office, they acted right away. They went after the two criminals, right into the road and into rush-hour traffic, making imposing figures in their blue dress uniforms. The Marines were not dissuaded even when Ethel yelled to them that the guys were armed. Cobbler fled in pursuit of one of the attackers, but he was defeated. He subsequently remarked, "No, that kid was never going to outrun me." Marines run towards the sound of chaos. Shoemaker's martial arts experience from the Marine Corps kicked in once he swiftly caught up to the man. His first response was to seize the man's wrist, and he took him down with the Marine Corps martial arts wrist lock method. "We're on the grass," was my initial thinking. "I'll just tackle," he declared. "I didn't think about it until it was done." Later, Shoemaker claimed that he had last executed the maneuver during his deployment in Iraq. Shoemaker's fast thinking allowed one suspect to be held until the police came, although the other suspect regrettably managed to escape. Then Shoemaker was struck by the reality of the situation. His words, "Fear," came later. "No, I didn't give it much thought at the moment. After I took a seat, I thought, holy crap. It's different since all I could think about was having a child. I have no one to go into battle with." For the first time, I truly experienced the "what if something happened" feeling. Shoemaker chased the man boldly even though he had assumed he was armed. A metal baseball bat was later found concealed in the back of the suspect's jeans. The Marines are certain that both individuals were spooked by the presence of highly skilled military authorities, but they are still searching for the man's armed companion. Since then, Shoemaker has been hailed as a hero, and, together with his fellow Marines Twigg and Scubesta, has been featured in newspaper profiles and news interviews. Major Sun Kim, their commanding officer, described the brave men's deeds as a reflection of their courage and dedication. Despite being praised as a hero, Shoemaker maintains his modesty. "What are you meant to accomplish? We are taught to do that." He responded, "I can't just sit here and let it happen." They set a great example for their fellow Marines, and especially for the young poolies who are studying to learn what it means to be a Marine, stated their commanding officer. All Marines are reminded by their answer that it is our duty to always act morally, whether or not others are looking. It's what we're taught at boot camp and what we do from day one. It is a component of who we are. In an interview, Scubesta expressed this idea, and Shoemaker concurred. "Whether it's recruitment or anything else, it's truly what I'm taught to do. Protecting the American public is my responsibility," he stated. It was quite unfortunate for the would-be thieves that they chose Ethel as their target. They were much more unfortunate, though, because they attempted to perpetrate their crime just in front of a Marine recruitment office. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.